Hi, beautiful people. How are ya? I hope you're having a great day. I went to the fmatest.com site and immediately an announcement came up. It said they are about to announce two things. One, commencement of FDA requirements for a solution to boost immune system health and microbiome pathways that relate to chronic pain, fibromyalgia, and chronic fatigue. Number two, soon to be announced DNA pathways that occur in 100% of fibromyalgia patients. What I thought was odd was that when you leave the site and then go back, that pop-up message goes away. So be aware of that. I actually had to log in with a different Google email, but it does seem interesting. So we'll see how long it takes them to get that information out. I know that many physicians and scientists call it bad science. I've received a lot of questions about the test. Is there still negativity? For today, let's take a look at what is being said about the FMA test, if anything. Here we go. The study that caused the development of the FMA test was completed in 2012, 11 years ago, and they followed up with another study in 2015. But it doesn't seem that other researchers have followed suit. In 2020, Healthline.com stated that first, specific conditions like hypothyroidism, polymyalgia rheumatica, RA, and lupus should be ruled out through blood testing. Then a diagnostic blood test called the FMA test can be completed. Now, the FMA test does not say that you need to rule all that other stuff out. It's supposed to distinguish whether you have lupus and rheumatoid arthritis or fibromyalgia. But that's what this website says. The article states, the test collects plasma and peripheral blood mononuclear cells in a small sample of blood. It tests the concentration of cytokines within your blood sample, unquote. We know that abnormal levels of cytokines are linked to fibromyalgia. This blood test checks for lower levels of specific cytokines. But this article also states that more clinical trials need to be done before this test is fully recognized as a diagnostic tool for fibromyalgia. I have linked this article below. Healthline was skeptical in 2020, but I couldn't find anything more updated on their website. I'm assuming that's how they feel. But if more research was completed, maybe the authors would be more on board. And then in 2021, AAFP.org, which appears to stand for American Family Physician, they stated in their website, the FMA test is a blood test used for the diagnosis of fibromyalgia. It is available for use in patients of any age who have at least 4 of the typical symptoms of fibromyalgia. They go on to state the following. On the FMA website, these are the symptoms that you need, 4 of them, to get the test. As of January 14th, 2021, the cost for the test was $1,080 without insurance, but some insurance companies do cover at least a portion of it, so you'll have to check with yours. So based on a few studies, the one I mentioned in 2012 and another one in 2015, there are 4 cytokines that are low in fibromyalgia with a cytokine-chemokine composite score. They have calculated a scale from 0 to 100, and if you score greater than 50, the result is positive, according to this article. The sensitivity is 93%, which is good. No test is 100%. For the test to be accurate, there are certain medications that must be stopped 2 weeks before the blood test. And Singular is one of them, which I started taking this winter, like late last year, to help with all the sinus drainage and the GERD. They can distinguish between fibro and RA and lupus, but there are errors. And then also, this article states, a clinical study has not been completed to show the test can distinguish between fibromyalgia and non-fibro people who are undiagnosed with several typical fibrous symptoms. That's interesting. So that's all that I can find online that talk about the FMA test in recent years. Nor could I find a research article that even spoke about it other than a dissertation. I did find a dissertation called The Lived Experiences of African American Males with Fibromyalgia, and I found that very interesting. I downloaded it to read it. The author mentions the FMA blood test as a diagnostic tool. So I don't know the answer as to whether the test is truly reliable. I think that since I do have fibromyalgia, I want to believe them, and that's my personality type, that the test does do what they say it does. But what is the FMA test actually testing for? The specific cytokines and chemokines, MIP1 alpha, MIP1 beta, IL-6, and IL-8 are all found to be low in patients with fibromyalgia, according to the researchers who developed the FMA test. MIP-1 alpha, also called CCL3, is a subfamily of chemokines and is pro-inflammatory. It's a type of protein. MIP stands for macrophagy inflammatory protein. A couple of its purposes are for immune regulation, and it hosts inflammatory responses. MIP-1 beta, also called CCL4, is also a macrophagy inflammatory protein. It induces the release of IL-6 and other pro-inflammatory cytokines. So before I move on to IL-6 and IL-8, I wanted to mention that in Lyme disease, MIP-1 alpha and beta are usually increased at least in the early stages, so different from fibromyalgia. And in Lyme disease and ME/CFS, the following are also not affected. IL-6 is an interleukin or pro-inflammatory cytokine. It acts as both a pro-inflammatory cytokine and an anti-inflammatory myokine. It's produced in response to infections and tissue injuries, which makes me go back to our tiny muscle injuries that we apparently are getting every time we move, and contributes to immune reactions. So if they're low, then they're not responding appropriately to our tiny muscle injuries and causing a constant reaction of antibodies. That's what my understanding is. Now, it's low in fibro, but normally high in rheumatoid arthritis and juvenile arthritis. IL-8, also an interleukin, is a chemokine that is released after an injury and is an important protein related to inflammation. So again, we're probably not getting enough of that to our muscle injuries. It gets to the site of an infection and recruits neutrophils to fight infection. It's a major mediator of the inflammatory response. So we need these cytokines and chemokines to keep our system in check. Not enough of them make our system out of balance, and too much can create a bad inflammatory response. So now what? It's an expensive test, and that's why I haven't done it. I would have, and my doctor was willing to help me with it, but it at the time just seemed pointless because I knew I had fibromyalgia. And, there are other ways of diagnosing fibromyalgia at this time. I mean, the way that fibromyalgia is diagnosed today is subjective, which is why I think this test, this FMA test, is so intriguing to all of us. You've proven it in a blood test. And I can tell you, if the FMA test was offered to me free of charge, I'd take it. Yeah, without hesitation. But right now, I'm waiting it out. I've been waiting for years to hear more about the results, but I guess I'll have to wait longer. No studies have yet proven them wrong, but we haven't seen any proving them right either. I'm sorry that I don't have better news. I had hoped that there would be more out there than there is. I think that taking the FMA test is a choice. But what do you think? Have you taken the FMA test? I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. They have calculated a scale from 1 to also, a clinical study has not been completed. And then also, this article states, also, a clinical study has not been completed. MIP alpha, MIP1 also, and in MECFS, according to research, these are not affected. And in MECFS, the following: